Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 11 upsets to bet. And last week we had ourselves a week. We got the Panthers against the Giants. We got the Patriots against the Bears. And I'll say it again. Nobody hits more upsets than us. Let's get to the upsets. First game, we're going to the Music City. We got my Minnesota Vikings at the Tennessee Titans. Titans are +6. I get it. The Titans are a terrible football team, and I'm not going to try to spin it any which way. You look at Callahan. He's been a miserable failure as head coach. You look at Will Levis. He's an absolute turnover machine, and he's let those guys down on the defensive side. But when I look at this game, I look at Sam Darnold. Sunshine won us a lot of money at the beginning of the year, but he is starting to turn that corner, and it's not the corner trending up. It's an avalanche. It's a tsunami where he is falling and falling fast. I'm not sure what he's looking at when the Vikings get to the red zone. The Vikings are running the ball great. When they go 20-20, it's hard to find too many offenses better in the league. But like I said, once they get to the red zone, Sam Darnold clenches up. He's forcing balls into places where you just can't even imagine someone would want to throw it. And you look at this Titans defense, I get it. They haven't been as good the last 3 weeks. It does seem like they lost a little bit of bluster. It does seem like they've had their soul ripped out of them. But I think they respond this game. This is a great upset scenario. The Jags could have very easily beat the Minnesota Vikings last week. The Vikings on the road again. And you just wonder, I'm not sure the Vikings are going to be able to run the ball. One thing the Vikings do every single week is they get Aaron Jones going, and that's what gets the offense going. I think the Titans will stop the run. I think they'll at the very least limit it. And then the game is on Sam Darnold's right arm. It's Levis versus Darnold. Both are turnover machines, but I think this is a good spot to sprinkle a little bit on the Titans. Now, I know this Titans team, they have their issues. They can't block anyone. We know Flores is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. But like I said, there's always a few of these big upsets a year, and I think this is one of them. I have to get against my Minnesota Vikings in this game. Give me the Titans. I'm not as confident as I was with the Panthers last week, but I think this is worth a little bit of a nibble. Next game, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe at the Los Angeles Chargers. Bengals +1.5. I think the Bengals win this game. Now, listen, I love this Chargers team. I love the way their defense is playing. There's very few defenses that are more physical and play with more verb than the Chargers. You look at this offense, Herbert's been absolutely, he's just been sensational the last 4 weeks. Let's not try to say anything different. But I'm looking at this game and I look at the Bengals defense, and obviously it's the weakness of this Bengals team, and it's one of the worst defenses in the league. But I think their biggest weakness is their secondary and their pass rush. But do the Chargers have the explosive players? Do they have the Dawgs at wide receiver to really exploit it? If you look at Cincinnati, I think they play the run very well. And I know Herbert's going to throw it. I know Roman's been dialing up the pass more. But what receivers are you really scared of? Are you scared of Ladd McConkey? He's very good. But other than that, there's not much else in terms of explosion. And say what you will about the Bengals. Say what you will about Zach Taylor. I know it's been pathetic. I know they've been Mickey Mouse this whole year. But one thing this team has is Jamar Chase. They have explosion. They have verb and inspiration on offense. And I think that's the difference in this game. Now, I don't want to go back to the old playbook and say, oh, it's a must-win game for the Bengals. Well, people have been saying that since fucking week 4, and they don't come up with the wins. but I do think this is a great matchup for them. I do think this is a game where Joe Burrow takes over. Burrow is getting hot, and there's a lot of people saying, oh, Burrow's overrated, Burrow this, Burrow that. I think Burrow goes off for about 350, 370. Like I said, this Chargers defense is playing great, but I do think their weakness is the secondary. I just think the Bengals are too explosive, and I'm not sure the Chargers are going to be able to take advantage of this Bengals secondary. Give me the Bengals to win in the cover. Alamo situation. Next game, we got the Washington no-names at the Philadelphia Eagles. Commanders plus 3.5. Listen, I love both of these teams more than everyone else. I've been on the Eagles all year. I told you that defense was getting better, especially their pass rush. And I've been on the Commanders all year. And I know the Commanders let us down a little bit against the Steelers, but I still feel like we were on the right side. Now, with this 3.5, I like the Commanders to cover here, and I do think the Commanders win the game. When I look at the Eagles, I see an Eagles offense that is still finding their way. They're best when they're running the ball and sticking to it and then using play action and letting Hurts attack down the field. But for some reason, this Eagles offense will have 3 or 4 possessions where they're absolutely horrific. One thing this Commanders defense can do, when you look at Fowler, you look at these defensive ends like Luvu. Yeah, I think the Commanders can rush the passer, and I think they can get pressure on Hurts. And what does Hurts do? What has Hurts been doing this whole year? He's been churning the ball over. You look at Jaden Daniels on the other side. Man, I haven't seen aura. I haven't seen Riz like this since Brett Favre. I'm not trying to gush him up like John Madden, but this Jaden Daniels kid has something special. He makes 180 IQ plays every single week, and he doesn't churn the ball over. And I think this Commanders defense can load up against the run, and I think they can force some Hurts turnovers. Now, I get it. The Eagles are the better team. The Commanders do struggle to stop the run. But if you give me a choice between the Commanders offense or the Eagles offense, I'm going the Commanders. I think the Commanders steal this game, and I might even be looking at an alt line, because if the Commanders win this, I think they're going to win it by 7 or 8. Move it to 6.5. Do that. Get some better odds. Go alt line. Next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos. Falcons plus 2.5. You guys are burying the Falcons. You guys are burying them. Why don't you just do the funeral? Why don't you just send them off? Why don't you just send them off? Send them up to the sky. Why don't you just do it? Man, it's only week 11, and the Falcons are in pole position. And we all knew the Falcons would be an inconsistent team. But I think they match up great in this game. Are you going to tell me this Broncos offense is better than this Falcons offense? Are you going to tell me Bo Nix is better than Kirk Cousins? And I know the Broncos looked good last week against the Chiefs, but everyone's been looking pretty good against the Chiefs. Everyone's been covering against the Chiefs. I think this is a bounce-back performance for the Falcons. Do I like the fundamentals? No. Do I like going to Mile High? No. Do I like Raheem Morris? No. He's been an absolute disappointment. My Falcons' future back to the NFC South should have been cashed already. But I do think the Falcons are the better squad here. And when I look at Bo Nix, I don't think he's the guy that can push the buttons. I think outside of Cortland Sutton, this Broncos offense is extremely pedestrian, and I'm not sure they're going to stretch this Falcons secondary. I think the Falcons are able to stop the run, and when you stop the Broncos run, you get 148 pass yards from Bo Nix. All of you guys thought the Broncos were going to cover against the Ravens. What did they do? This is the Falcons' time. This is the Falcons' statement performance. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to make an NBA for you guys. Kirk Cousins slams over Bo Nix in Mile High. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. The best best gambling show on the internet. Thank you guys for sharing these videos.